So as we're preparing for this podcast, we're having this wonderful conversation, and our producer Melvin, he's like, "Save that stuff, save that stuff." I've known Tyrone for a couple decades now, over 20 years, all through CCAR, I think. Say hello, Tyrone.
Hello, everybody.
when
Yeah.
when did we first meet?
Um, 2008.
2008.
2008.
Oh, so it wasn't quite 20 years. So this
Yeah.
is 22, 14 years.
2008 in July.
You always have the dates and the
Yes.
numbers down.
2008, that's when my life changed, and I didn't know it was changing.
Mm-hmm. So you're born and raised in Hartford.
Yes. Housing complex, Stowe Village. I came there when I was like 2 years old, 3 years old.
From where?
Garden Street.
Oh, so you're born, raised, you're just a Hartford native.
That's my roots.
Yeah. And you were a legend, right?
Living legend.
Oh, you're a living legend.
Yeah.
You're not a dead legend.
No.
And the legend part, wasn't it something about some sport you were pretty good at as a kid?
Yeah, basketball, football.
Yeah.
Basketball, football,
What was your favorite memory from each?
Well, football, running the ball, I was pretty good running the ball because they say, don't get caught or you get hurt.
Don't get caught
Or you get hurt. You know what I mean?
So, who'd you run the ball for?
I used to play for the fire department.
What?
Hartford firefighters.
Really?
Midget. Yeah.
Oh, and midget. Did you play in high school?
Well, I went right by the high school.
Oh.
I ain't gonna win.
Really?
But yeah, I went in some. See, you had to have 4 credits.
Yeah.
I had 3.5.
All right.
So I flunked off.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you were a midget football legend for the Hartford.
Yeah, and junior high too.
Mm-hmm.
That and basketball.
Yeah.
A lot of playground.
Mm-hmm.
Pickup games.
Yeah.
A lot. That's why my body all broke down.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't
Didn't you hurt yourself? Like your big injury was dunking the basketball.
Because the courts, like where we live in the housing complex, you to go to the baseball field, they used to steal the cars, the young kids, and then they got to go through the basketball court to get down where the baseball field at, so they can do donuts and all that.
Yeah.
They messed around and hit the pole.
Uh-huh.
So the court was leaned over.
Yeah.
And it went far. So one night, we got a bright idea. We was playing horse. So we was out there dunking and doing all this. So I tell all the guys, I said, one more dunk. And I went up to dunk, but I hung on the rim. And I pulled the backboard and the rim down on me.
Ooh.
And it hit me on the side of my neck, and it hit me on my shoulder, like.
Yeah.
Yeah. 1991. 2007, I ain't had no spinal fluid dripping down in my spine.
From that?
From that.
Wow.
All them years, like every 2 years, every 3 years, I went to a chiropractor.
Mm-hmm.
And they used to adjust me. And then it's that, first it went like every 2 years, every year and a half, every 7 months. And then it was like every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they found me a specialist. I was at this warehouse. I was working for Good Sports, hot leather, memorabilia for motorcycle games. I was making the chaps and the boots,
yeah,
and the thongs and all that. And I used to drive like the cherry picker. I used to pick them. People come with a grocery thing, and you pick what they want, the orders.
Mm-hmm.
And I got up there as a button, and I couldn't get down. And then when I finally hit the button and get down, the ambulance came and got me and all that. And they thought I was going to sue them. But I told them, if I would have told y'all that I got back injuries and all that, y'all wouldn't have hired me. You know what I mean? And so they paid for my medical and all that. And then I couldn't work no more, and I got on the state. And then they couldn't find out what was wrong, my primary care, but they sent me to UConn.
Mm-hmm.
And now I had a skeletal specialist, bones, and all that. And then they found out what was going on with me.
Yeah.
And he said, when you walk around, do sometimes you fall down? I said, yeah. He said, you clumsy, huh? He said, your whole body is knocked off. You know how the neck bone connected to the hip bone and all that, and we used to sing that song?
Yeah.
It's real.
Okay.
I
I
thought it
believe
was
you.
just a song.
Yeah.
So my neck bone connected to all this, it was knocked over.
Oh, gosh.
And that's how we move our arms and our legs with the spinal fluid. Mine was going in my shoulders. They gave me like a half a year to live because they caught it.
You never told me that.
But that's what happened.
You never told me about the half year part.
Yeah, they did.
Dang.
And my surgery was 4.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And the consent form, I had to bring my girlfriend and all of them, and it said may result in death.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember talking
So
about that.
they put the little thing in my neck like a funnel, how we do the oil in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the stuff going straight down.
Oh.
Every 3 years, you know, I gotta go do a
Get a tune-up.
Yeah. You might as well say because it's the what is it, the cervical?
Yeah.
My C1 vertebrae.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah.
What was it like growing up for you? Who was in your house?
My mother, my stepfather, and my 2 brothers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, because it was real innocent.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Christmas was Christmas. I had a rabbit. You know, 1st and 2nd grade, Miss Fitzgerald, Miss Luca, those were my teachers. They used to say on May Day, bring your rabbit. It was Hoppy. Hoppy was big, a big white rabbit.
Yeah.
Red eyes, yeah. I used to bring the rabbit on the chain. We used to walk to school, all the kids with me and stuff. You know? Yeah, man.
You walked your rabbit to school.
Up the Wish Hill, up to school. Hoppy. You know?
Your rabbit named Hoppy.
Yeah.
That was a clever name there, Tyrone. Hoppy the rabbit. Okay.
You know, it was a good time, man.
When when did the alcohol, drugs, when did all that start to take place?
Alcohol came in, I was about 11, 12 years old.
Tell me about that first time.
Well, it's more or less like I used to see like my uncles and my cousins them around, and people, older people in the housing complex, and because I was a curious and nosy kid, you know, and they used to give me a sip of beer or a sip of liquor, and I used to hit my chest. They say the young boy got it down, you know, he a man. You know what I mean?
Wow.
That's a big part of my story because if I take a drink now, I'm gonna hit my chest.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it was a curious thing because I could still remember like 5:30, 6 o'clock. I'm like 10, 11. My mother called us in for dinner and all that. And I get 11 and 12. I stopped going in at 6 o'clock and all that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I seen too much.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's how I got introduced to that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that was seventh and 8th grade. And the marijuana smoking in the 8th grade. But far as like the cocaine and all that, I got introduced to that like 10th grade in Weaver High. The cocaine in the back of the cigarettes and smoking them, calling them little woolies, and we used to coolies. We used to smoke it in the back of a Newport or something. I got introduced to that.
Coolies are a cigarette, and somehow you put cocaine in the
back of it. You move the filter.
You take the filter out, and then you jam cocaine in there.
In the back.
And is there still tobacco in the front?
You do the tobacco like that, and what it do is it sneaks through the cigarette, the tobacco.
Yeah.
And you light the tobacco.
And it goes through the cocaine, so it's almost like you're kind of like crack. You were smoking cocaine in a little bit.
You're basing and you don't even know you're basing.
Right. Did you put the filter back on?
Sometimes, but sometimes you just leave it like that, so you can get the freeze, the numbness.
Oh, in the mouth, yeah.
If it's pure, it'll make you numb.
Yeah, I hear.
You know what I'm saying?
I do know what
when
you're saying.
When you get the cane, you taste it, and it's the same thing. Yeah.
So when you were in high school, I'm trying to get a picture. Who were some of your friends, and what were they like?
Oh, my friends was, all of them was my friends. See, we was coming from the projects.
Yeah.
So we had the goodies.
Mm-hmm.
And all the other kids was coming out of the house, or their parents was dropping them off. So we had like a lot of holes in our buses and writing on our buses. So we was the bad kids, but they was waiting for us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it was more like wanting attention, wanting to be popular.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I was the big jock in the 7th and 8th grade. When I got into high school, it was bigger. I got lost.
Oh,
I got lost because I wasn't the jock no more.
right.
You know, I got lost and I got scared.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's how all my friends made the basketball teams and all that and had all the girlfriends. You know, they had all the girlfriends.
Were they better than you?
No.
Then how come you didn't make the team?
Because I flunked off.
Oh.
Because I flunked
And
off.
why'd you flunk off?
Because I used to sign in homeroom and go to my favorite classes, and the classes I ain't like, I ain't go. And they used to put, he signed in school, but he ain't show up.
Okay.
It was a challenge going to school.
So you jumped from like you were drinking a little bit, hitting your chest,
Drinking a lot.
You were smoking marijuana, and then you were smoking cigarettes with cocaine.
Mm-hmm.
How easy was it to get drugs? And what was this in the 70s or 80s?
74, 75.
Okay.
You know, that's 11, 12 years old.
Yeah.
It was real easy because I was a gambler, shooting dice and playing cards.
Was that like normal in the neighborhood?
Yes. And I was lucky.
Or unlucky, I guess it depends on how you look at it.
If we got $20
Yeah.
and there's a lot of us,
Yeah.
they give it to me
Mm-hmm.
to shoot.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Were you good at it, or were you just
Real
lucky?
good at it.
Or were you just lucky?
Real good at it. I've been a product of the system my whole life. Because when my father was gone, my mother used to be on food stamps.
Yeah.
When the $10 bill was green, the
Mm-hmm.
$5 bill was purple,
Mm-hmm.
and the $1 bill was brown.
Mm-hmm.
So we used to gamble that too.
You did.
Of course. You know, and that's how we used to get it. Money was like plentiful, you know, because there was a lot of all kind of programs.
So what'd you do with the money?
Brought clothes.
You brought clothes.
Yeah.
What else did you do?
Got high.
Yeah.
Drink. You know, it wasn't 40 ounces then. It was quarts of beer.
Mm-hmm.
I was drinking Clarence McGregor and Shake 'em Up, Whitefort.
I'd see.
Boom Farms apple wine.
All right, that's about the only thing I can relate to. I didn't know any of those beers, but I remember the Boone's Farm Strawberry Hill wine was the first thing I ever drank at 13.
Strawberry,
Apple, yep.
You know,
It's terrible.
Yeah, they used to carry me home from the 7th grade and 8th grade.
What was your parents' reaction?
I think I done slept in the hall and woke up after that. Cause we used to be in the halls and was a grown kid.
Was anybody worried about you?
Of course.
Who?
My mother.
Yeah.
So you boy, you know what I mean? And then a whooping was a whooping. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I can handle that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A whooping was a whooping. You know, and it wasn't like a psycho, like it was a disease. It rapid to this disease that I have now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It was more or less like, it wasn't like, I used to say it was pure pressure because I couldn't get a job or something like that. But my uncle was the director of the YMCA.
Oh.
I had a job ever since 1977. I was 14.
Yeah.
I had a job ever since then.
Yep. So you were working too.
Yeah.
Were you a good employee?
When I wanted to be. See, because we was playing pool too.
What?
For money.
Jeez.
Playing pool, playing bumper pool for money.
Mm-hmm.
You had the horseshoes. You had the ping pong. All of them was dollar games and $5 games.
I had no idea you were such a high roller.
Oh, big time.
And so how many people were in the project? in Stowe Village, do you think?
Well, we had 677 units, so
Wow. So you could say a
it was
thousand easily.
it was the second biggest to Charter. Charter was the biggest.
And what percentage of people would you say were involved in the gambling, drinking, getting high world in there? If you
I give it 50, but it's a little more.
50?
Because most of the people that's doing it don't live there.
Okay.
You know, oh, welcome. You got when you come in, you got to have something though. When that crack hit, that's when the ship went down.
When did the crack hit?
I think what it was, 85, 84, something like that.
Yeah, there was a lot of cocaine around and they
Because
started to.
I graduated 84. I was supposed to graduate at 81. I went back to school.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it wasn't privilege then. It wasn't nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when that hit, that's when it was like a change in the guard.
So when you say the ship went down, what was the ship?
As far as the project. When I was 29, I got introduced to heroin.
Wow. Why?
Well, I was working at this place called Unclaimed Freight. I was there just a month, and then they put me in customer pickup.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys was in this thing. They were selling furniture, and I ain't know they was being watched for a couple of years.
No?
And I started doing it like a week or two. I was doing it, and then one day it was my birthday.
You were doing what?
Selling the furniture.
Yeah.
And one day it was my birthday, right? They went over across the street on School Street, the police station right there. They duplicated all the money. And since it was my birthday, I end up with most of the money because they say it's Ty's birthday. Let's look out for him and all that. So then the store detectives came back and they said, everybody freeze. Because the man came back. I said, yo, man, what your mirror broke? You need another mirror? What you coming back for? He said, no, I'm the police. I said, oh, shit, I got to go to the bathroom. So we were selling to the cops.
Yeah.
So I went and turned myself in. They gave me, the warrants came out. So I went to East Hartford. From Hartford, turned myself in. So they gave me a $50,000 non-surety bond. They let me go. I went to court like about a year and a half. And then I took 4 years. I took 4 years in 91. I took 4 years. This was a 91 charge. I took 4 years. That night before I went in, I drank a half a pint of Seagram's gin, and I sniffed a 101 and some heroin.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget it. They put me in an ice cream truck. They brought me there.
The ice cream truck.
And then I stayed in there 28 days in this place called Saigon, J Basement. Then they said, you getting transferred. So I thought I was going to go for a long ride. It's 6 prisons right by each other. They say, put me in another prison, Kyle Robinson. So I get down there. I see all my friends in there, and it's like triple warehouse. They in bunk beds. Everybody in there. So now I arrive.
Prison. And you arrived.
Yeah. So when I got out, that's what I mean by arrival. So now it's on now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's when the nightmare began, big time, because I wasn't drinking no more. Really didn't want no weed and no cane. The heroin took over everything. I went home with 37 months parole. I stayed home almost 2 years. I got caught 22 months later. I had cane on me and heroin. I got caught and I had a do not release, a DR. I had to go back and do 9 months.
Yeah.
And to finish up. The same guys was up there because you had 10%. They was coming in and out.
Mm-hmm.
They say, oh, you back, Johnson? I said, yeah, I ain't never supposed to see me again.
Right.
Right? And then my mother died. My mother died. And that February took me to Barber Street, shackled all up and all that. I see my mother. They let at the time you could stay 17 to 33 minutes. I had my greens on. Kyle Robinson. See my mother and all that. My grandmother was in there. Then I finished my time.
How'd your mom die?
Alcohol disease and a broken heart, nervous breakdown.
Oh. Talk to me about you. What was that the last time you were in prison back in '94?
No, no. I got out in 95, stayed home, 7 years.
Okay.
Then I went back.
For how long?
18 months.
For drug related offense again?
Check this out. Check this out. And listen, my birthday again. You hear me, man?
When's your birthday?
March 31st.
I need
What's the next day after that?
March, April Fools.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Right?
this is a pattern with you.
Yes.
April Fool's Day.
Listen, because I always go to church or somewhere, see, because I'm a sexton too. That's one that cleans God's house.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, they gambling on this street. We on this new street, Earl Street, across from my projects. They gambling.
Mm-hmm.
So it's my birthday. Cars come by. I know everybody. I say, yo, give me a few dollars, give me this. But the detectives and all them filming the base house.
Oh.
So everybody on the street selling their drugs. So it look like I'm the one that's collecting the money for them.
Mm-hmm.
So the cops is what? The witnesses.
Right.
So I couldn't beat it.
Yeah.
So I'm in, they arrest me. Give me this high bond, accessory to selling drugs. Never sold drugs in my life. I had to eat it. I took 2 years, right? They had this program called TS. That's 2 years and under. You do a year, you could get out. But the last program I was on, it was 37 days on a year. It was supervised home release,
Right.
right? In Waterbury, a person was out on supervised home release. He killed like the lieutenant or the chief of police back then.
Yeah.
So they canceled that program, went to the state capitol, came out with TS, Technical Center. That.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted to give me that. I didn't take it because I was home like 2 years on 30-something months parole. I said, I'm going to do the whole thing. So I stayed in 18 months. It was a lady, Miss Calkins. I ran the whole drug programs. I used to run the programs, all the programs. You know what I mean? And I just stayed, man. Then they introduced me to CCAR.
Mm-hmm.
I was just coming to CCAR because it was like mandated because I didn't want to work or I didn't want to go to school.
Right.
You hear me? But in the meanwhile, it got me right. CCAR allowed me to have a life, man.
Mm-hmm.
That I never had this adult life in my life. In my life, man.
So what's your life like today? How do you take care of your recovery?
Oh, I do something for my recovery every day.
Mm-hmm.
Either I reach out, talk to a recovering addict
Mm-hmm.
or alcoholic. I do a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I go over my step work with my sponsor.
Well, we've been speaking with Tyrone Johnson, who's been a long-term volunteer with the Connecticut Community for Addiction Recovery. He has carved out his own niche, if you will, in that he is so well known all throughout Connecticut for carrying the message of recovery to, well, you've been to treatment providers, to meetings, to prisons, to shelters, wherever he goes. I think one time you said your office was Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dunkin'
Burger
Donuts.
King,
Burger
City
King.
Bus.
Yeah, wherever you are.
Wherever I'm at.
A walking billboard for
Yes,
recovery.
in the face.
Yeah, putting a face on recovery. You
people
took that
know.
to heart.
You know, it ain't about promoting, it's about attraction.
Right. So whenever we need some energy at anywhere, Tyrone is, we always call on Tyrone to do things. So
Thank you.
speaking at our annual meetings and things like that.
Yeah, man. You know.
All right. Well, that's a wrap. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man. You know, that's part one, man.